I'm Matthew Kurbis, the subscription attorney, and this is Law Subscribed, your dedicated source for all things subscriptions and the law. Thank you to my sponsors. See links to them in the show notes. Everything discussed is only for educational and entertainment purposes. Enjoy the show. Here we are. We're live. For those folks who are joining us right away, first of all, I apologize. We're 3 minutes late. Lauren and I, as per usual, got wrapped up with like tech stuff and talking about tech stuff, and it involved going live on LinkedIn. So if you're like, you clicked on this tab on this video, and you're like, why am I seeing set up your stream as the thumbnail? Well, I was sharing my screen, and we were having fun, and we were talking about going live on LinkedIn because this is Lauren's first time, right? Lauren, say hello to everybody.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so very excited that you're doing this LinkedIn Live thing, your first time. We've talked together so much, so many hours now that you and I have talked together.
So many hours, yeah.
That we're like, we don't need to prepare for this. We're just gonna show up and talk about where we've been. Because what was our last session in February? I was trying to think about like when our last recording was, right?
Yeah, either late winter or early spring.
Yeah, and so it was a while ago, and you know, like spoiler alert, I guess, but we do not, we don't actually record close to publication date because who has time for that?
No one.
No,
yes.
but the good news for that is it means that a lot has happened since we recorded. All the episodes are live now for How to Run a Law Firm in 2025. Even we were just talking before we went live about like some news with your practice. So maybe you want to share with all the folks about like yet another pivot or adaptation that your practice has made since the last time we chatted.
Yeah. So I think I talked about this at some point in the series, but many of you who have followed along either the series or have followed along with me know that I practiced family law for a long time, first 9 years of my practice, and a couple of years ago decided that I really needed to get out of that space. And in my head, I sort of envisioned my practice like a pie. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to take out these, 4 slices, 6 slices, it was a good bit of my practice, I have to fill that space with something new. And so I dove into the world of tax debt resolution, learned all about it, was super geeked about it, put it up on the site, started to sell it. And for about a year, talked to a bunch of people, but just didn't get a lot of traction. Meanwhile, the other part of the pie just sort of filled in. So estate planning and prenups, which I had always been doing, filled in because now I had the room to actually take on more new clients in that space. And so about few months ago, I kind of said, I don't think I need to do the tax thing. It still stresses me out. It's still new. I'm still getting my feet under me. And the business is doing really well without it. So I just kind of simplified and I guess like mini pivoted and said, you know what? I think I'm going to take that off the website, not sell it anymore, and just focus on the 2 practice areas that I really love doing. So that's worked out great. And yes, again, within the time that we stopped recording, still made another change and it has all worked out.
Yeah, because we're always adapting and changing. And something that I really wanted to do back even around our last record session was revamp some of the way I'm packaging my offerings on my website. So all of that is live now at subscriptionattorney.com, right? So like I've dropped the 99-cent pricing. I don't even know if we talked about that.
No, what was that? Yeah,
so I just rounded up a cent because when I'm out there pitching my business, now this we did talk about, right? I say like $20 a month, $50 a page. Like it's too much of a mouthful. And so, look, I like to, speak the actual truth. And so I've adapted my pricing to be actually, starting at $20 a month. Now, what I did find, too, talking about like cutting out things that people aren't taking advantage of or that you're not actually like using, but you're investing time and effort into it. So the knowledge base that I wanted to create and for clients to use never fully manifested the way I wanted to. And the little knowledge base I did have didn't get a lot of access from my clients anyway. So like that's not like an advertised benefit anymore. I'll still leverage it and I'll use it. But AI is so good now, like I'm not even really leveraging that anymore. And I want to do stuff with Notebook LM once that's available, which we did talk about. But now what I did is to differentiate between my $20 a month pricing and my other pricing. I also got rid of the freelancer packages because I had very few freelancer clients. And so they're small businesses, and if they're good and they're serious about their business, they'll just sign up as a business client, right? But I now have 20 a month, 100 a month, 500 a month called personal attorney. And then I have 500, 1,000, and 2,000 a month for business attorney. So whether you're looking for your personal attorney plan or your business attorney plan, one of those based on what you have will fall into that. So I still don't count the pages in the business attorney side because they get so many projects a month. On the personal attorney side, the $300 a month includes one project regardless of pages for legal project. So that's maybe somebody who might want to take advantage of that. And then the pricing goes $50 a page for 20 a month, $45 a page for 100 a month, and $40 a page for the 300 a month, right? So so an additional benefit is access to that lower per page pricing for those higher tiers. So that would be, instead of a knowledge-based benefit, which people weren't really using anyway, it was hard to maintain and update and all that stuff, I'm giving them a more of a discounted rate on that per page pricing. And I've already had some clients taking advantage of it. I'm only like 1 month into that change. So still practice is very similar in terms of practice areas, unlike you, but I've recontextualized and repriced some of my firm offerings. And so far I've been getting pretty positive results.
How did you decide how to create the two different spaces and then the tiers within the spaces? Like, what was the thought process? And it sounds like you relied on some data of like, folks aren't using the knowledge base. I have a couple of freelancers. Like, I'm very curious on like, what was your thought process in figuring out what the next iteration would be?
Yeah, really great question. This is why I love co-hosting with another podcast host. So it was a lot of it was gut data, right? It's like, I feel like this, right? But it's based on over 3.5 years of having my firm and adapting as I go. But it's been the largest adaptation that I've made, right? Like I've messed around with some pricing before. I originally started at $100 a page pricing. I had no idea what I was doing. So part of it is like, well, I've experimented here and there. I see what clients are actually willing to pay. I have a lot of custom pricing for clients, for business clients, based on what their actual needs are. And so looking at like, what are clients actually paying? What are they willing to pay? Like actual clients. And ones that maybe stay subscribed longer or are still subscribed, and how I've adjusted pricing for them over the last 3+ years, and like repackage offerings based on that, right? So I used to have, like when I first launched, I was like, oh, I'm going to put $10,000 a month as a subscription package. Well, nobody paid for that. I had up to $5,000 at one point. I had one client who got at that level for a little while. I had some at like $4,000 a month. I had a couple at $2,500 a month, but they were rare. They didn't stay subscribed forever. And that $1,000 to $2,000 range seemed to be more of a sweet spot where clients stuck around. Because it's at that point, if you're a business and you're operating and you're generating over $1 million in revenue, gross revenue, and you have a few employees, like another $1,000 or $2,000 a month is not a lot for you, right? You're spending a lot more on other outsourced things. And so that seems to be it's just like, I just tested and experimented. And I wasn't afraid to try something and test it out. And yeah, I haven't really done a good job pushing it and marketing it because I'm working on a million things. But the people who have come across it have done a really, have given positive feedback on it so far. So far, so good.
Do you find that it's easier to have the sales discussion, sort of knowing these new tiers? Like, does that come a little bit easier to be able to tell someone, hey, I think you would be a good fit for this level?
Not particularly. I mean, because it's still pretty similar to the conversations I was having before where like, oh, really, you need to do this or that. Oh, and another big change I made was I used to have a lot more subscription add-ons. But at the end of the day, those are really just independent legal projects that I'm working on. And so like, I no longer have an asset purchase agreement subscription add-on. That's just, you have to subscribe at the $1,000 a month because it's going to be 3 projects a month just to work on just this for you. Right. And maybe 1 or 2 other things here or there. So like I've sort of gotten rid of that. So now it's not like they come to me and they're like, I have to first you subscribe at $100 a month and then you do the subscription add-on package. And like, so it's just like cut that out. It's like, nope, it's $1,000 a month. And yes, I'll be able to handle everything for your buying or selling of your small business. So like that just makes the conversation way easier. And they just have to make one payment. They have to sign up once instead of having to sign up for this and then do the subscription add-on. And so I've tried to get rid of subscription add-ons as much as I can.
I love that. That's so much more efficient for you because then you don't have to worry about all the admin behind that of like, oh, I got to send the thing out so they agree and collect the payment for every single project. And I think on the client's level, it also sounds just nicer for them. Like, yes, it's technically more like where they're starting from, but yeah, every time they need you to do something, they're not like, oh, and then we got to get the thing from Matthew and we have to pay. Like, it's just included.
Yeah. And
I like that.
And look, I'm working on something that I can't talk too much about right now, but I've also changed like my workflow with SweetDash, where I'm really not leveraging SweetDash anymore. Now I've integrated a combination of, because I'm in Google Workspace, so I'm using Calendly, Stripe, and Google Forms for my onboarding and intake instead, rather than doing it through the SweetDash process. And it's cumbersome and there's a lot to do and there's a lot of clicking behind the scenes. And like I said, I might be working on something where you don't have to do all that clicking and integrating, but it doesn't integrate because you can't do subscriptions inside of a Calendly link. You could do Stripe and Calendly for one-off payments, but you can't do subscriptions. So as part of the description, I have the hyperlinked link for them to pay and subscribe to, which they'll either have to do before that scheduled call or at the time of that scheduled call. So I made scheduling their first 15-minute call part of that onboarding process, just so I could collect some information and do some of that, right? So it's adding a touch of friction, and I'm doing that because I was getting a lot of calls from people that are outside my licensed jurisdiction. They're not a good referral. So like I'm wasting my time. And so I wanted to intentionally introduce some friction into that onboarding process, ask some more required questions to get them to not, they click a button that says, I am in Illinois. I acknowledge that I am in Illinois, or my transaction or deal or business is in Illinois, right? Like, and that has significantly reduced the non-eligible potential clients that I'm having to have these intake calls with.
And then is the Google form separate from Calendly? Like these questions you're talking about, is that embedded in Calendly, or are they doing that in Google Forms?
Yeah. So it's a combination of sort of all of the above. And this is why maybe I need to do a special Subscribe podcast episode on this workflow.
I'll give you some ideas.
But when somebody books with Calendly, you have the ability in setting up that setting to route them to a different web page at the end, at the conclusion of that scheduling. And so I route them, it automatically redirects to a Google form. I have a different one for business attorney versus the personal attorney plan. And then it's just, it's email, 3 questions, which is basically, hey, what do you want to talk about? Like that's what they all boil down to. Like, what's your main concern? What are some other things that you want to talk about? And is there anything else you want to tell me? And then I have them click, I think it's like 6 or 7, like just check this box that you agree to this, right? Like things that are in my engagement agreement, but that I want to highlight. And then the last thing they have to check is, and I agree to all of the terms at the hyperlinked engagement agreement, right? And even when they sign up for Stripe, I ask a couple of questions. When they sign up for Calendly, I ask a couple of questions. So like, even though it's a little bit duplicative, what I found is clients really benefit from having to think about stuff a few times and answer it in a few different ways. And that it better informs me when we're going to meet for our first meeting, even though it's more friction, which I try to reduce in other ways.
But I think your use of it here is actually really smart because, like you said, otherwise, if you make it so easy for anybody to come along and schedule a call with you or have some sort of interaction, right, you're potentially going to get a lot of tire kickers, folks who aren't actually somebody you can help, right? And so they're in the beginning of the process, I think a little bit is actually good to help people weed out so that you're not wasting your time on folks who are just never going to convert to a sale.
Yeah. And forcing them to have a 15-minute call with me when they're signing up as part of the sign-up process, I think is also really important because it also sets the stage for this is how you communicate with your lawyer. Mm-hmm. And even if you just ignore everything and you just click yes just to get through to talk to me, the likelihood that you're trying to engage in some kind of fraud or you're not in my practice area, like it just goes down. You had another change, though, since we last talked, and that was you've adopted Substack as a platform for your newsletter, right? So, talk about that transition.
So that's inspired by you, Matthew, I have to say. I have to give you credit where credit's due. Yes, you talked about it and raved about it, and I was on MailChimp for a long time, forever, to the point that my first MailChimp account had all the cool features, and I didn't pay for it. And then if I set a new one with all the cool features, I had to pay for it. Eventually they caught on to that and they made me pay. Mm-hmm. But I've been with them forever. But they were sort of lacking in the additional features. So MailChimp was just the newsletter, which was great. But I really loved in hearing you talk about Substack that it was more robust. So yes, I could still have a newsletter. I moved the podcast over there, which has been super great. One less thing I have to manage, one less stream. And then I really love the community aspect that's kind of built into Substack, not only with commenting and actually being able to hear from lawyers who are so amazing and read my newsletter and will see me in person and tell me great feedback. And I implemented this into their practice, but I don't get to see everybody. So everybody lives in Denver. So I really love that I can have folks respond and ask questions. And then I have, the built-in subscription level. So if folks want to ask me questions or engage with each other, they can sign up for pretty inexpensively to do that. So that's my favorite part, I think, about Substack is the community nature of it. And it's the best part of social media. The rest of social media feels like a toxic wasteland that I want nothing to do with. And Substack is this secret little sacred space, and I'm like hoping almost that no one finds out about it because I feel like it will become a toxic wasteland of all of the comments and the vitriol. But everyone on there is just so supportive, and I really love it. So yes, kudos to you, and thank you for the idea. And it was a pretty easy migration, which was really nice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just pitching some other committee that I'm on that like just put all this stuff on Substack. We don't have to worry about a domain registrar. We don't have to worry about like all these other things and what's the cost for maintenance and all. No, just throw it up on Substack and like some bar association thing. And I was like, and you can even raise non-dues revenue, like if people are willing to pay and support it, right? So yeah, love Substack. I see you've got some interesting things going on, right? So you've still got a differentpractice.com running. And then you have on your Substack, which is differentpractice.substack.com, even your logo has like the Substack branding inside of that. Very cool. I like that to differentiate, I'm sure,
Yes.
between the Substack version and then your other website where you have all other materials and other resources. So like, are you looking at the analytics of like which one's getting more traffic? Is it the .com website? Is it the Substack website? Like what, have you seen any difference there?
I haven't yet, but the .com website has been up for 8 or 9 years now. So I wasn't going to lose all of that great capital, web capital. And there are some like additional services and stuff that I wanted to have on there. But yeah, I tried to like combine them in a way. So like you said, kind of thinking about the logo and making sure they felt like sister sites,
Yeah.
and that they were all under the same brand. But yeah, there was a reason to kind of keep what was existing on the .com site because it's linked in so many places. And then it gives me the option to kind of expand in the future if I want to do something beyond Substack.
Yeah, and that you already have the brand and you have the website and stuff. Like when I find folks that haven't even like launched like even like a solo consulting side hustle business, like I'm like, well, just use Substack. Like you don't need Wix, you don't need Squarespace, you don't need any of these other websites. Like you're gonna be a content-based business or have some sort of like paywall stuff. Like it's amazing. Now I do see that you chose to stick with the Substack subdomain versus doing like versus doing like a free or a $50 your own subdomain. So like, media.adifferentpractice.com or podcast. So you chose not to do the subdomain. Now I really actually like what you did because you got the Substack logo inside your logo. So I think that totally makes sense and I like that. But was that like did you think about, oh, should I pay the one-time $50 payment for my custom subdomain to something.adifferentpractice.com?
I thought about it, and so I also have the brand of the newsletter is the Solo Success Lab. So I went back and forth on maybe I'll just make it that.
Oh,
but then I thought,
yeah.
well, I really do want it to be under the same umbrella. I don't want folks to get confused. I want it to be more than just the newsletter, even though that's kind of the driving force. So yeah, I just was like, it was sort of like, I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to do what it does by default. And so I almost think I would use like the solosuccesslab.com, which I have, and like just redirect it and use it as a vanity URL to the Substack one. So yeah, it was more of just I don't know what to do there. And there wasn't anything that felt totally right.
Let me tell you about the brand new sponsor for Law Subscribed, Paxton. I've been using Paxton as my legal AI tool for over 2 years. I continue to evaluate and demo other legal AI tools in the market and still decide to stick with Paxton because of its reliability, its accuracy, its ease of use, affordability, and they do not lock you into a long-term contract. Now, as a transactional and fractional general counsel attorney, I'm using Paxton for all of my substantive and non-substantive legal work, whether that's legal research, analysis, drafting, or enhancing existing legal work product. In the time it used to take me to draft and analyze legal documents, now, after a little bit of back and forth with Paxton, I have something ready to go in minutes that used to take hours or even days. While I'm no longer a litigator, I could see how valuable Paxton would be when researching a new issue, preparing for a deposition, drafting a motion, or going to trial. So if your firm would benefit from using Paxton as your legal AI tool, then make sure to use the link in the description when signing up to let Paxton know I sent you. That's all about our new sponsor. Now back to the show. Yeah, it's hard. I'm trying to come up with an idea for what to do with like a subdomain for another entity that like, I'm like, well, what do we call it? Do we call it media? Like media.entityname.com? Like, because you can just pick that subdomain. And so anyway, I'm trying to figure out, because I do want to do content marketing for this other thing. And I think it makes sense to do it on Substack, but the main.com is the main domain is like the main thrust of it. So you can't use that, but you could use a subdomain. Really interesting. Speaking of vanity URLs, is that what you called it?
Yeah.
since we were publishing this, I got the domain. It was available. I didn't have to buy it for anyone. To howtorunalawfirm.com. Like, can you believe that was
Awesome.
available?
I can't believe it. That's so great. You snagged it.
Like, we came up with this idea for this title like on a whim, and we were like, yeah, it's good enough. Maybe we'll come up with a different name in the future. It's stuck. And so all that does is it just redirects to my Law Subscribed, back-ended by Substack, like Slug. That's lawsubscribe.com/howtorunalawfirm. Right. But like it just redirects to those 18 episodes. But yeah, like how about that? That domain was available. It's a vanity domain.
That's amazing. I love those. I think they should be used more and more, especially in marketing, because it makes it so much more memorable when you're talking with a client, when you're giving a presentation. Like I like the howtorunalawfirm.com. Like folks will remember that. And then if it just redirects to a site you already have, like great. But I try and think of those all the time. They can be very tricky to get like a good one because a lot of folks have thought about these ideas. But man, when you get one, it's so nice to be able to use that just off the cuff, like rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, and like sure, could I have gotten maybe runalawfirm.com, right, or something like there, but that wasn't really the point, right? Because like shorter is better, but a phrase like that, like a memorable phrase, yeah, there's something there. And I've even thought about, because I've offloadlegal.com. I was like, and that redirects to my law firm website. I was like, oh, like, should I be like, and if you're ready to offload your legal services, go to offloadlegal.com, right? Like there is something to that.
It's brilliant.
Right?
Yes.
I've never said that though. Like I've never actually used that in a real setting. But because then it's like, because remember, hire the subscription attorney and offload your legal services. Just go to offloadlegal.com. If I could wrap in the subscription attorney brand like as part of that, because then when they go there, they'll see subscription attorney, right? Yeah, I got to think about that. Yeah, there's something there. This is why I love getting together with you, Lauren, because like just the ideas, they start flowing.
The wheels start turning. Yeah.
Oh gosh, is there anything else? I'm trying to think if there's any other cool things on my end. Any other like big announcements or lessons or learnings? Like obviously based on our conversation, we both went off and we made some changes to our practice after what was it? It was like 10 hours? I think like we put in like 10 hours, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 18 episodes, right? We tried to do half an hour an episode, which didn't often work. So probably even more than 10 hours then. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So like I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but that was pretty much it, right? Recontextualized some of my pricing. Got the domain to howtorunalawfirm.com, which like there's an episode where I think I'm like, it's go to lawsubscribe.com/HTRLF 2025. I'm like, that's a terrible subdomain. Should I go in and like try to edit that? Like, no, forget about it. It's out there. Who cares?
No, it's so great. It's so great. I love getting it for like little brand taglines when you can find it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, here's something I'm going to try to do. We didn't talk about this ahead of time, but we only have a few minutes left on the official. Oh no, do we have until 1:15 Central Time, right? I think is what we scheduled. I'm going to go in and I'm going to try to see which episode is the most popular.
Oh, nice. That'll be good.
For my analytics. And I'm going to look at different analytics because actually some of them on YouTube, like, because you've been posting on YouTube now too, right?
Yep.
I don't do any of the things you're supposed to do for YouTube, but some of the videos are getting hundreds of views. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I could be a YouTuber. No, I don't want to be a YouTuber.
Few more views.
Yeah, right. How's the YouTube stuff going for you? Are you like paying attention to any of the analytics or stuff there?
I have been really terrible. So usually I'm trying to be very good about practicing what I preach. And I tell everybody to get on video. And I still wholeheartedly believe that. But the practice has been running so great that I've been slacking. So I haven't been on YouTube. I haven't been posting. It is in my Q4 goals I have a list of like ideas for videos and a lot of scripts that I'm going to put together, but I haven't sat down and recorded them yet. So that's my goal running into the new year, is to get back on that train. So no, I haven't been looking, but I still get folks all the time when I ask them, how'd you find me? And they'll say YouTube or, saw your video on Google because it comes up in the search results. So it's still working for me. I just haven't fed the beast recently.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let me see here. Oh, I'm like, I got to even like mute this whole thing. Hold on. So I'm going to my playlist on YouTube. Anybody could do this, by the way. And I have How to Run a Law Firm playlist there. So now I could just see, can I sort by most popular? I can. Oh, thank you, YouTube. Okay. Wow. I have not looked at these. This is cool.
Oh, I'm excited. This is like the reveal.
So the most watched video from our series on YouTube was, for me, it was episode 128 of my podcast, but it was the episode on costs,
I was gonna say it's got to be something about money.
right? Like, and so cost 199 views.
Interesting.
And the next closest one is 147 views, outsourcing,
Oh,
which you and I were like not like very
we're like,
confident
we don't
with.
do that.
I still
Yeah.
haven't outsourced. Have you?
No.
I'm gonna
I
have
was
to very soon. I'm getting busy. Like I think I'm gonna have to start outsourcing. But yeah, like yeah. So cost outsourcing, and then the next two are probably least surprising. If you had to guess, what's the most popular episode for my audience, especially Lauren? Could you guess?
Pricing, subscription stuff.
AI, actually.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's both AI episodes are next, and then finances, and then pricing. So like those are like
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My top 6, right? Yeah, and
And
then
they're
market.
all in the same vein,
It
like how to
kind
make
of.
money efficiently.
Right, right. Outsource, so you could spend time doing higher value work. Keep your costs low. Use AI to be more efficient. Price your services accordingly, and use that subscription model, baby. That's it. Yeah, and then marketing. Marketing is the next one, and then the rest of them start to get pretty low, right? So like even the pricing episode only has 56 views. Finances had 93. AI 1 had 104. AI 2 had 125. So that's the YouTube statistics anyway. Let me see. I never trust, I don't know how you're feeling about this, but for like the Substack analytics, I feel like it's a super undercount. Like it's not
Yeah.
like there's the Apple privacy stuff, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, the privacy stuff around doesn't turn on. Because I'm getting like just through podcast listens, I think I crossed like the 30,000 total download threshold a while ago. But like it doesn't like that doesn't add up to like what I'm seeing on some of these numbers for like individual episodes, or I'm in the hundreds of listens, but it's still not like I thought it would. I think it's more out there. Because Substack might have like, oh, like this episode got like 250 listens, but then Spotify says it got like 200 listens, but then it shows on Substack that Spotify only represents like 4% of my total listenership. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are these numbers? They don't make any sense. So if you're interested in getting into podcasting and you're watching this, it's like, it's hard to be a professional podcaster unless you're getting millions of downloads. Like it's just because the numbers
Yes.
they don't add up. It doesn't make any sense. So here, yeah, let's see here, because I published my stuff. I interspersed it with other episodes. So let me just see if I could filter by total downloads on Substack. Oh, Substack does not make it easy. How dare you, Substack?
You're like,
How-
we were just singing your praises. Come on.
How dare you? And well, like yeah. So there's some weird things here, because then also podcast listens might not be as many as the people that read the email that go out. Like I feel like I get way more people that read the newsletter version of the podcast and actually click and listen or download the episode, right? So like those numbers are always higher. Oh, you know what I could do? I just have to go to I'm in the back end, but what you could do is you could just view most popular episodes on the front end of your, like, as anybody going to the website. So let's see if any of these broke. Wow. So my number 3rd most popular episode, period, Lauren, period. So first is episode 56 with Mark Stiving, how to value and price subscription legal services. It's probably obvious. Number 103 is mergers and acquisitions plus subscriptions with Conrad Everhart of Flatiron Law Group. And number 3 most popular episode of my podcast, or at least maybe article on Substack, however they categorize it, standard operating procedures, how to run a law firm in 2025.
That's amazing. Another episode we really hit it out of the park on.
Right. But it shows you that like people are interested in that, and different audience that tunes in different places are interested in different things, right? And so SOP. So like if content was my main thing, like my takeaway would be focus on the finances, on the costs, and on the standard operating procedures, like, and create more content around that, right? Because like that seems to be where the listeners are most, or watchers or whatever, or readers are most interested, right? Like, I don't know, you're more into the data stuff than I am. So like, am I onto that? Is that where I should focus
I
my
think
content?
that's brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah. I think any of us, no matter what data you're looking at, whether you're creating content or like we were talking about earlier, right? Going back and looking at the last year of clients, like who came in and what type of case was it, and geographically, where were they at? I mean, all of that data, I think, helps us make much more informed decisions. And if you're looking for ideas of what direction to go in, it can be really helpful. Like you're saying, right? If you're creating content and you're like, oh, I don't know what my plan is going to be for next year. Where should I focus on? Go back and see, where your audience has really connected and what episodes or articles have been the most shared or the most reviewed or the most comments on. Because then it's folks telling you, hey, we want more of this. And it makes it a lot easier to make sure you're giving whoever you are serving, whether it's a client in your law firm or your content people or whoever, you're giving them what they actually want.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I've pulled up the analytics there. So I'm not going to share the exact numbers because I don't think they could be totally relied on. It's good. Like I think it's still like pretty good. But my total podcast download. So the next most popular one from our series is number 13 on my list. So in terms of most viewed, I think it's most viewed because I'm looking at these podcast download numbers now. So it was SOPs, and then that was rank 3, and rank 13 was costs. Again, costs, right? Like, so people are interested in that. So the podcast download numbers are very similar, but the total views of that like email newsletter version of that went out, it's more than 4 times more views on the SOPs than on costs. So that means people shared it, right? Because that means more people than are actually subscribed to my newsletter saw that email and was like, oh, sharing this with a colleague, sharing this with somebody else I know, sharing that, right? So like you don't necessarily get that from YouTube views, like was this shared with someone? But in Substack, what's nice about it is you could be like, oh, this was a shared topic. So that's shareable. So like I'd almost focus more on like SOPs first, then going into the cost and finances side of things next. Something that I came up with on a call with a listener who's listening to our series right now, Lauren, and reached out to me. This is a guy, I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't want people to figure out who it is necessarily. But let's say thinking about leaving one job and starting their own practice, right? So then they were like we were just talking about, I was like, oh, you know what I should do? I should come up with like some prompts for Perplexity of like, here are the questions to ask, and then like fill in your like state or whatever. Because like, okay, I'm starting a practice in, whatever, Minnesota. Like like a law practice, what options are available to me in terms of legal entities that are permissible? Right now, obviously, we're lawyers. We'll click on the links, we'll click on the citations, and we'll go and read our, the government websites, right, that are applicable, or the bar association websites. But it's like, just like knowing, like, can I have an LLC? Does it have to be a PLLC? Can it not be an LLC? Like, even just like getting simple questions like that answered. So I wonder if like coming up with like prompts for stuff like that. But then with standard operating procedures, like you and I talked about, like we just like got on a thing, we recorded a bunch of stuff, and now we could take that transcript and we could use AI and we could turn it into SOPs, or just by talking about it, we're like, oh, I'm gonna make that an SOP. Or hey, when I calendar something, like when I calendar to check my, to categorize my spending, that's an SOP, right? So coming up with maybe something like that for you and I both, like for each of our audiences, which there's some overlap, but we ultimately have different content. So everyone should be subscribed to a different practice and law subscribed if you haven't figured that out yet. and like maybe like doing like some things like that, I think folks might be interested in. And then in a way that's harder, but like once it's out there, it's like not infinitely, but like basically infinitely like shareable and usable, like time over time. Like, what do you think about that? Would you be interested in that? Like, would you do something like that?
I love it. Yeah, it's almost like you are in my brain thinking of all the stuff I think about on my walks that I haven't told anybody about yet. So it's a little freaky. But yes, that's exactly my idea and plan for next year, is to continue to build out, especially a different practice with tools like that fellow solos can use. So I use a lot of AI, and it's me kind of saving my prompts and what works, and then I tweak this here. I would love to create some like custom GPTs that folks can just have access to. So that's all part of my plan, because I think that is where stuff is going, right? AI is everywhere. Can't stick our head in the sand. Like, might as well use it to be better lawyers and be more efficient in our practices. But it can be really overwhelming of like, where do I start? How do I use this thing? How do I trust it? How do I know that it's giving me accurate information? So yeah, I'm really working on putting together templates and helping folks use AI in their own practices in a way that feels really good to them. So thanks for having me share that ahead of time. Now I got to really do it.
Yeah. Or also, I'm sorry, because I heard something somewhere about how psychologically, and we announce that we're doing something, we get the same psychological satisfaction of not even having done it. And so also, I'm sorry.
I'm like, great. I'm 2026 checked off.
Right. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we just been having such a good job chatting. I haven't paid attention to if there's been any comments that are live. I don't see any that come in, but as we were talking about ahead of time, LinkedIn is kind of wonky. So let me click on something here and see if I can't just like get in and reload and see if there's any comments. But we have about, 7-ish minutes left. So if folks want to say anything to me and Lauren while you have us live, now's the chance. We've had some people come in and out throughout. But yep, no comments. People are shy. Lawyers are shy.
I know, they are.
We're lurkers. We're afraid that, our employer will find out we're watching this thing. And like, we don't want to, we don't want them to know that we're thinking about starting our own firm. So it's okay. It's okay.
It's all right.
No
Secret's safe with us.
No problem. All right. So that's your goals for 2026. Anything else you're working on to wrap up by the end of the year? Anything, any big goals or anything like that?
No, I'm on track to crush my revenue goal, which is so great, like to do without any contested family cases. So that feels really good. And yeah, it's really just kind of leaning more into a different practice and trying to give folks some tools and resources that they can really implement.
Yeah. I do have coming up. Is it my next episode? Oh yeah. So if you're watching this around the time that it's actually like live, because I will re-syndicate this as like a podcast episode. But the next episode 141, is a recorded talk I gave about AI and using the subscription model and whatever at the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers Symposium. So like family law attorneys. And in that talk, I'm like, and you think like not a single person there was not billing by the hour, like in a room of like 300 something lawyers, and mostly lawyers and some judges, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, like everybody's here, like nobody's ditched the billable hour. So like, okay, I'm going to list off a bunch of lawyers I know who are doing family law and are not billing by the hour. And so I do name you in that. I name drop you, but that was before.
It's all right. Yes.
That recording's from a while ago. And let's just, for the record, let's just say like you did do it for a long time without.
I did do it for 9 years. Yeah, I could tell you exactly. And made great money. Like my best year ever was family law heavy. Made great money. That is not why I left. It was not for the billing. It was for various other reasons.
But I have to imagine if other lawyers on the other side were not billing by the hour and those incentives weren't there, maybe you'd still be doing it.
Yep. Probably very much so. Yeah, it was definitely a contributing factor.
Yeah. So I've had conversations with family law attorneys about ditching the billable hour, immigration attorneys. I'm really sort of starting to expand into areas that are dominant, billable hour and just or even just fixed fee, but haven't used subscription. Yeah, I found a good way to do that. So I'm trying to get more focused on that for this year. I am once October rolls around, I'm doing Max Law Con. I'm speaking on that there, but then I don't think I have any scheduled talks or speaking engagements or anything for the rest of the year. So I kind of want to not do anything like that and just focus on my practice for a little bit. So those are my goals. Is after October, give myself a 3 or 4 month break from speaking engagements and like just like keep practicing law, because regardless of what I do, I mean, when you do it like we do it, right? When you run a law firm like Lauren and I do in 2025 and beyond, it's fun.
It's amazing. I'm so excited to wake up every day and sit down and see what client needs something or what I can solve. And yes, it's wonderful.
Yeah. And my child now is like, what are you doing for work? Why do you have to do this thing so early in the morning? And I could say honestly, because I'm helping people. Daddy's helping people.
Yep, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Although it does feel bad. And she's like, but I want to sleep in. And like, well, I'm going to get you to school early today. So yeah, with that, everybody who's watching live or hears this later, if you're not already, adifferentpractice.com, adifferentpractice.substack.com to follow Lauren, subscribe to Lauren's stuff. It's all great. I'm a Substack subscriber to her. Always a good post there. Now, what I always do is I open, not just for you, but for every Substack I'm subscribed to, I open it in Safari and I just do the listen to. So like I just turn them all into like 2x speed podcasts. And what I really like about Lauren's, I'm going to put this out there for everybody else, is some people look at Substack as, it's blogging. It's like new age blogging. And they write like 2,000 plus words and it's like really long. And I'm like, I'm listening to this thing for like, if it takes me more than 10 minutes to listen to it using like the Siri AI and Safari, it's too long. Lauren's are all like 5 minutes or less. So really good, really quick. Highly recommend.
Yes, that's intentional because we're busy, man. And yeah, I don't want folks to not get the good information or get these tools because, it takes 2 hours to like go through it all.
Yeah, for real. Okay, well, let me check where we are on live here.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, it is about 30 seconds. So I'll thank you for coming on the show, and then we'll vamp for a little bit to like let the LinkedIn people
Sounds
see it.
great.
Okay, so one last time, Lauren Lester of Lester Law, my life lawyer, and your life lawyer, if you're listening to this and you're a future client, at differentpractice.com. Thanks again so much for coming on the podcast.
You're the best, Matthew. Thank you.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in. Make someone's day by sharing this episode with them. The best way to get in touch is to follow and message me on LinkedIn. To get extra content, subscribe to the newsletter at www.lawsubscribe.com, where you can also become a paid subscriber to get episodes and content early. Until next time, this is Matthew Kurbis with Law Subscribed.